Yo.
Yes, sir. What's up, guys?
Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in three, two, one.
Hello and welcome to Janssen Reality. We're back again. It's that time, and we call it the time of unmasking whatever that we can. In this case, we're back to Nandipa and Thabo Bester and the rest, the co-accused, basically. That's the best language.
Like the rest than it is about Thabo Bester.
Because they are the main culprits or whatever that they are called there. But we will always call it like that. So in this case, we are definitely looking at the bail hearing of the 5 accused. It's the 5, yes, right?
Yes.
And we are going to dissect where we can dissect and make it easier for you if you missed it and you don't have time to actually watch it from the word go when there was arguments and what led to exactly these findings that we find ourselves at by the bail hearing and where the judge is really now hitting the nail in everyone who's implicated in whatsoever way that they are implicated. Emily, this is Mr. Anonymous for those who don't know me, and in front of you is Emily. Greet our people.
Hello everyone. Hi, welcome to the Janssen Reality YouTube channel. Like Mr. Anonymous said, we're here to update you about what happened in court today regarding the 5 accused that are aligned with Thabo Bester's escape saga.
Okay. Yes.
So yes, their contributions to the crime were rather more explained by the judge today as he was giving his verdict on who deserved bail and who did not. Welcome. Let's dissect this. So a decision was handed down today in the bail hearing of the 8 accused in the Thabo Bester Saga. Remember when they say 5 of the 8, the 5 that were on today's bail hearing, excluding Dr. Nandipa Makudumana,
yes,
Thabo Bester, as
yes,
both of them decided to postpone
yes,
their bail applications. And then is it Dr. Nandipa's father?
Yes.
Who got bail?
Yeah.
Because of his old age.
That makes 8 then.
That makes it 8. So the prison wardens Sinohe Matswara, Mutenyani Masugela, and Tieho Makota and CCTV technician Teboho Dipolo were denied bail. Okay, former prison warden Nastasia Janssen was granted 10,000 rands bail. Now I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, this is too high. She should have settled for less. Why is she getting bail? Is it because she's a woman?" No, it's not that. In my opinion, if you've watched our previous content, you'd understand why Natasha actually got bail. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. It's actually because her lawyer did a good job of fighting for her to get bail compared to the others. Okay, so Matwara, Masugela, Makota, and Dipolo face Schedule 5 charges of corruption and aiding an escape. Among the other charges, because there's actually more. Mr. Anonymous, you were telling me that Sinohe Matswara alone has about 13 charges.
Yes, they are saying it's 13 charges. The charges are broken down in this way. It's about 3, I think, including fraud and arson and defeating the ends of justice. They go double to, like, that's how they are. Those, they make 13 charges. So when we say fraud, we're not talking about one, we're talking about many. That's what we're trying to say.
So remember the time when we said that the charges had been dropped from Schedule 6 to Schedule 1?
Yes.
It seems as though the reporter that I got that exclusive from was sort of misled.
It was.
Because Janssen is the only one. Natasha Janssen is the only one whose charges were classified as Schedule 1.
Yes.
The rest is Schedule 5.
And indeed, they are not specified. as to what charges that much about Janssen. It's just facing 3 charges.
And the magistrate explained that with Schedule 5 offences, the onus rests on the bail applicant to provide evidence that they should be released on bail. For Schedule 1 offences, the onus lies with the state to prove that the applicant should not be released on bail. Kabisi found that Matswara, Makota, Masugela, and Dipolo did not provide sufficient evidence to satisfy the court that they will not interfere with state witnesses.
Yes.
But Kabisi said that the state's case against Janssen is porous and that the state did not prove beyond reasonable doubt that the interest of justice would not be served if bail was granted. Janssen was granted 10,000 rands bail and has to report to a local police station every Friday between 6 in the morning and 6 in the evening.
Yeah.
She's not allowed to contact state witnesses or the investigating officers. According to the state witness during the bail hearings, investigating officer Tieho Fleiman, the accused were all involved with helping Bester escape. Matswara was a supervisor on duty in the area of the prison where Bester was being held, and he's accused of bringing a decoy body into the prison cell, starting the fire, and helping Bester leave the prison. He faces 13 charges. Dipolo, a CCTV technician, is accused of cutting power to the CCTV cameras on the night of the fire and placing the bag with the decoy body in a wheelie bin and wheeling it into the prison. He faces 10 charges, including fraud and arson. Masugela, who is accused of letting the vehicle carrying the decoy into the prison complex, faces 5 charges. The funny thing about Masugela is all he needed to say is that umthetho awuvumi. And now he's in this mess. Because he couldn't do what security guards usually do. Umthetho awuvumi.
Yes, that's the only word that you could have said.
He couldn't do it, guys. He couldn't do it. So Makota and Janssen were both in the central room on the night of the fire and are accused of opening the doors for Bester to actually walk out. And one of the most interesting things that Natasha Janssen's lawyer, what's his name?
I'm trying to get the name, but you can continue.
He was able to argue this, and he argued it very well, that as Thabo Bester was walking out of the prison, he was dressed in G4S full uniform and attire.
Yes.
So Natasha could have been under the impression that she's opening for staff, right?
Yes.
Not for the prisoners, because the prisoners don't dress the same way as the G4S staff.
And we did raise that here.
We did talk about it.
The argument is valid in a sense, because if that's your mandate, then you are still carrying your duties.
So she's in this mess because she did her job.
That would be, for now. That is what we would say.
For now.
Because the number 2, I think that alone would not hold if there was a link of finances that were injected. In the arguments previously, I heard that there is no link of finances from this account that was raining money to Senohe or anyone through and then to Janssen. There is no link of such. So that's what made the case of Janssen more easier. And the lawyer argued along those lines.
And I also heard a lot of people complaining that, he's such a weak lawyer. How was he? If you haven't been watching, you'll think that he's a weak lawyer.
We have said this again and again. This is criminal law. English
is not really
secondary to anything that you can argue to court. And as long as you can be understood,
yes,
English shouldn't be a problem.
That's what's important. Because there were some times he was struggling to articulate or had to rephrase the questions. Because you can tell that he's used to speaking Afrikaans more than he speaks English. So a lot of people in our community like to misinterpret
that not being able to articulate well
in
in
English.
English as your weak point.
Or as incompetence.
Yes.
They're like, it's not professional.
What we are seeing here is people who were very good in English, they actually lost the bail here.
Because they focused on the trial.
They focus on evidence in a trial. They could not prove that there are people, first of all, even if they focus on that evidence, they did not deal with it in depth, because what they were literally arguing about was just the tip of what is in the case. And hence the state argued that this is not everything that the case is based on, what you've just argued here. So by saying that, that sort of made their statements or their argument weaker, because they were just picking what they like and leaving what they do not like. That's basically, in simple terms, that's what you can say they were doing.
And another interesting thing as well is that I remember even telling you guys that I feel like they are probing for more information for the trial. I'm like, some of the questions they were asking, they don't really have anything to do with bail. I mean, with bail, you want to prove that your client will not pose a threat to the witnesses. You want to prove that your client...
You also want to prove that the state does not have
enough credible
case to hold your client. So that was not proven.
It was more like
they only dealt with that part of saying, okay, we're going to deal with evidence. Give us who
what
said
you
that.
have.
Basically, who said that? Why? And the argument of the passport, and only to find that actually the colonel was right about Lesotho
passport
being
stamps.
2 stamps in and out.
You need 1 stamp in, 1
while
stamp
you have
out.
made an argument of 4.
That you need 2 stamps in and 2 stamps out.
That sort of made the judge
Did you
to
even
look
go
at
to ask?
the
Did you
research.
go to the border and ask how many stamps are required to enter Lesotho?
Your research was not properly done, which made your argument weaker. To say that if you can miss such things, then what else can you miss about your client if we release your client?
Exactly.
Because you are short-sighted then.
Yeah, the English was good. I give it to him. Mururi's English was proper. And the legal aid lawyer, I forgot his name.
And then they relied on statements only. There was no other evidence to prove beyond that these people actually, they rely on their statement. For example, former G4S guard Sinuhe said in his statement that he was not employed and had no means to flee. Also said he would not jeopardize the investigation or interfere with the state witness. Integrated solutions, employer Teboho Lipolo, I think.
Polo.
Yeah, Lipolo, that's a struggle. So, who operated the CCTV cameras, said he was previously convicted of a stock theft. He said being kept in prison would impede his ability to defend himself. DiPaolo added that he had developed severe flu because he had not been given enough blankets in jail, and that it was impossible for him to get hold of his family. You see, nothing solid. You are complaining about
And
the
it's
prison.
flu season.
And it's flu season in any case.
A lot of people in their homes also have flu. It's not just because you are in the jail. So that did not hold water. And then there's also the argument for Masugela that he has diabetes or something like that. But Masugela is not 70. So maybe the approach was to take what they did with Makutumana's father.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't work because he's in his 50s and Dr. Nandipa's father is in his 70s.
And perhaps providing medical certificates to say this is the proof that this person has diabetes.
Yes. Did they prove that?
They didn't show that. it is a word of mouth. So based on that and looking at the age.
And do you remember even them trying to spin the house and living situation to say because it's 50-50, then it means that is... I'm like, these lawyers, they were frustrating me at that time because I'm like, how do you know that Masugela's wife owns that property? Did you do research to prove that they actually own that property? But you're trying to spin it and make it sound like just because he married that lady, then whatever is hers is his. But did that lady say this house is fully mine and I have the title deed and it's in my name and this is my house?
And Janssen, yes, did include the medical part in it because she did say that she says there is no prima facie case against her. She suffers from migraines,
Headaches,
and they buys over-the-counter medication. See, that's a smart move because you don't prove that. How do you prove that? And buys over-the-counter medication. She says she needs to be released on bail to provide for her 2 children, and she said she would not endanger the public safety and she would attend the trial and not interfere with the investigation. She said her release on bail would not undermine public order, which is...
And the lawyer emphasized on that.
Yeah.
Water emphasized on that.
Which I tend to agree with.
Emphasized on it to say that my client will not go around threatening the witnesses. Okay. And those other ones, they were focused on something else. I'm sorry if this is going to offend them. But they were focusing more on the details of the investigation of the investigative officer.
It looked like they wanted more.
And I'm like...
It looked like they wanted more.
Are you fighting for bail here? Are you fighting for something else? You know? Zolile Segeleni, father of Dr. Nandipa, is currently out on bail. Now, he's accused of hiring the vehicle used to drive the body into the prison. Now, Dr. Nandipa's father, the most interesting thing or the detail that we didn't have before on the channel is that he actually hired this vehicle from O.R. Tambo. So the place that he hired the vehicle from is closer to O.R. Tambo International. Drove it all the way to the Free State in Bloemfontein.
Which makes things more complicated.
When I found out that information, it blew me away. He drove all of that distance to deliver this van, and apparently from there, Sinohe Matwara is the one who drove it to G4S. Allegedly.
What is the connection between the two of them? How did they know each other from the hiring to delivering or putting it wherever the father put it? And did the car get lost? Was it reported that it was lost? What was the...
Did they even meet as they were exchanging this vehicle? That meeting, how long did it take for Dr. Nandipa's father to communicate with Sinohe, if there was any communication at all for the transferring of this hired vehicle? How long?
Yeah, now we look at it in a different way.
So that is very interesting.
It is.
If he wasn't 74, I doubt he would have gotten bail.
Yes, I also doubt too.
So Nandipa Maguduman and Thabo Bester are still in custody, having withdrawn their bail applications, and the criminal trial will begin on the 20th of June. So we will wait. We will be tackling Babuyani no Ozandi. We will be busy with 2.
We have actually been busy with 2. Yeah.
Yo. And I feel like there will be more information with regards to this trial that will come out in court, because a lot is happening on social media. People are deleting posts. It's a mess.
Yeah. So should I play this part?
Yeah, let's play the scenes of Katlego Bering's mother speaking on.
A ke la mathomo ke tla mo khoto but a ke ikutlwe all right cause a ke batle batho ba kry bail even le Nandi Phale le papa gagwe a sa kry bail total a ke monate cause ngwana ke a sa tlhotse a boa so ha ke all right total nane ke kopa for the magistrate court sa ba fa bail total sa ba fa bail cause ke botlhoko ene ke khone le qeba le la ka le khono fela total every day ha ke khono re go bala le motlung cause ke naganile ngwana ke a sa tlhotseng a le hona ene never tlhotse a boa gape.
Yes, in the South African Police Services, hence he says the community will say SAPS has not done their job.
Accused number 3, accused number 6, accused number 7. All of you will remain in custody until then. Bail is denied. Accused number 8, you are in custody. Bail is set at an amount of 10,000 rands on the following conditions: that you are ordered, upon payment of bail money, to report yourself on Fridays to Heidedal Police Station at 6 in the morning and 6 in the afternoon. You are further ordered not to directly or indirectly have a contact with the state witnesses. You are ordered not to leave Bloemfontein without informing the investigating officers of this case. You are warned to appear before this court at 8:30 in the morning and to remain in attendance should bail be paid. Failure to appear, a warrant of arrest will be issued. Your bail will be provisionally cancelled. Bail money be provisionally forfeited to the state. Understood? Thank you.
Yes, please, the court, Your Worship.
Yeah. I think from what we have figured out is that I think what I find on my side interesting was that the investigating officer told the court that Katleho's body was found in Bester's cell. It's said to have collapsed at the taxi rank and rushed to a National District Hospital in Bloemfontein. Thabo Bester's partner, Dr. Nandipa Makutumane, allegedly claimed his body from the mutual. The investigating officer said Motwara, then a supervisor at the prison, took the body. Now, Going further, then you look at the investigating officers testified that the corpse was not buried and upon exhuming the grave. Instead of the corpse, they found the 10 kg bags of mealie in the coffin. Now, going further, Magutmane's father, Zolile Sekeleni, hired a vehicle which, Emily, you have touched on, which he used to transport Bering's body to Bloemfontein. Masware is accused of taking the body into prison on the 29th of April 2022. This is now what they went through when they were going through Colonel's statements,
So
whatever
it
that he
is
testified.
said that Nandipa's father drove the cops. Is that what they're saying? Allegedly.
Allegedly, obviously, everything is alleged. And then the investigator officer further detailed how Motsware allegedly entered the cell port at an entry port with 2 gates and holding an area between it without authorization or gate pass and without having the vehicle, which contained a TV stand and a bag with Katleho Bering's body searched. Masukela was the officer of the entry point who allowed Motsware in this case. And then the officer said that the plane hit a snag when an operating supervisor heard about the vehicle trying to enter without any access pass at the car, and the car was midway between the gates. Motsware drove to a workshop into prison yard, where Masukela assisted him in dropping off the TV stand and the bag with the body inside. This is alleged. The Polo placed the bag with the body into a trolley dustbin and wheeled into the prison, where it was deposited into a passage leading to prison roof known as the dark room. This is alleged.
Close to the,
On the 2nd of May 2022, the Polo pretended to end his shift in the evening by clocking out on a fingerprint reader, but he remained in the building to allegedly disconnected the cameras. Now, those are the things that led up to this whole bail hearing. But these are the things that were read there before the judgment.
The judgment was given. And I also heard the detailing of what actually happened. I'm going to try and summarize it, especially when it comes to claiming of bodies, because it was initially reported that Dr. Nadipa claimed 3 bodies. Here's what happened. He claimed the first time, claiming to be a relative or assisting a Zanda Moyo. Allegedly, this Zanda Moyo is from Zimbabwe, allegedly. So they were helping this Zanda Moyo claim a body at the government mortuary, and it was said that it's one of his relatives, the father or the brother. And then they claimed this body. They went and arranged a funeral right there at Bloemfontein. It was phase 2. If I'm reporting correctly, and they organized this whole funeral. The funeral was there, and that is where they changed the body. Allegedly, that's where they changed the body of Katleho Bereng, took it out of the coffin. Now, this Zanda Moyo claimed Katleho's body. He claimed Katleho's body and claimed to be a father or a brother or a relative. And they were going to arrange a funeral, and Dr. Nandipa was there assisting this Zanda Moyo to claim that body, which was Katleho Bereng. And then they went and arranged a funeral with mourners and everything. And then, just before going to the graveside, they took out Katleho's body and they put the maize meal and the wors in the coffin. And they took it and buried that instead. So they kept Katleho's body. And then, the second time around, they made arrangements to have Katleho's body go to the Bloemfontein G4S correctional facility. That whole movement, you cannot tell me that these people did not know who Katleho was. when they claimed him the first time.
Yeah. And then the timing of knowing when this man is going to collapse also is something that you have to consider.
It needs to be investigated.
With the linking of this guy who was a fan also of Bloemfontein, apparently, allegedly, it begs that question of how did you know that this person was going to be the one falling in a taxi rank and eventually...
And when you go to the mortuary, his body specifically.
Those are the things that we need to look at. That's why there was a case initially of
murder. And then because they couldn't prove...
But they still have time to actually draw this link. And there are still questions that needs to be asked as to how did you know? If you admit to actually be part of this thing, how did you know that this is the right person? This is the person that is going to fall. This is the person that is going... Before the family started knowing about it, because the family, we can all kind of have that agreement of they didn't know anything until the last days recently, right?
And you know what the painful thing is, that Katlego Bering's mother actually went to the mortuary to look for him around that time. It was May, around the time that they were claiming.
Yeah.
And she couldn't find anything at the same mortuary.
So those are the things that we're going to have to look at, guys. I know for now it looks more complicated, but eventually it's going to be easier and easier and easier. Just stick with us and understand what we are going through right now and what we are trying to bring to you. And it might be a lot of information, but slowly it will be easier. Like Senzo's case, like any other case.
It was difficult at the beginning. In fact, we were afraid to even talk about it.
It was heavy.
It was, because we didn't understand what was going on.
Right, guys. For me, it's a bye. I don't want to prolong this video as it is by now.
Let's wrap it up here. And until the next one, guys, bye.
Bye.